Once your team organises into the Scrum team roles, they find themselves moving forward faster and faster. They figure out what the most important parts of the product are and build them first, relying on the Scrum Master and the product owner to keep them working efficiently and with a high level of quality. Your team also previously had issues communicating with the stakeholders. This problem is partially addressed by the role of the product owner because they serve as the voice of the customer. The key components of the Scrum framework address this lack of communication fully. In order to produce value consistently throughout the entire project, there are 4 framework components: creation of a product backlog, sprint planning, sprint execution, and release management. The product backlog is where the product owner collects the user stories and prioritizes them into a sort of to-do list for the development team. User stories are selected by the development team from the prioritized product backlog for inclusion in the sprint backlog during the sprint planning ceremony. Sprint backlog consists of the user stories to be completed within the current sprint. This means that the team always has a manageable collection of features to work on. Items from the product backlog are chosen during sprint planning, which takes place at the beginning of every sprint. The product owner prioritizes features to be built, and then the development team decomposes the user stories into smaller tasks. Then the sprint begins in the period called the sprint execution. During the sprint, the Scrum Master facilitates the daily stand-up meetings. The daily stand-up meeting is where the development team discuss what has been completed the previous working day, what they plan to complete today, and highlight any obstacles or impediments that may be blocking their process. This solves your previous problem of your entire team not knowing what was going on, because you'll be sharing what you're doing with the team every day. The final part of the Scrum framework is release management. This aspect helps bridge the gap between the team and the stakeholders, because the team provides a full demonstration for the stakeholders of the features that were built during the sprint. This is conducted during the sprint review meeting, and this provides an opportunity for the stakeholders to communicate with the Scrum team on the deliverables. The stakeholders can advise if the developed features meet their expectations and can provide feedback directly to the development team. It is, however, the product owner's responsibility to either accept or reject the sprint deliverables to ensure that what the team is building is still what the stakeholders want. Communication creates the course for delivering valuable content. After the sprint review, a sprint retrospective is held to review the Scrum processes for the previous sprint and to determine ways to improve future sprints. A common approach to the sprint retrospective is to answer the following questions. What went well? This is what we would like to keep doing, or our best practices. What did not go well? This is what we would like to change or process problems. And what the team needs to begin doing. These are the process improvements that we would like to make. The improvements discussed here can be immediately put into practice for the next sprint. Your team has now implemented the basic framework and roles of Scrum. This framework promotes the delivery of the most valuable features of the product first, and the delivery of value continues throughout the entire development process.